this policy. And ostensibly, the reason why this policy was taken back, smitaprakash, is because it failed. 30% of the private players who were given liquor vends licenses in the policy of 21-22, 30% of them shut shop because it was simply not competitive enough. It didn't make any business sense for them to continue. That's why they shut shop. Now, I'm coming to a larger question, and the larger question is this. Now, it's become a political sort of football between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party is saying, look, they've gone after TMC, they've gone after Congress, they're only going after opposition parties, so we're next in line, they're coming after us. The BJP is saying, you know, why don't you let the law take its own course? A, why was Manish Sisodia giving off waivers to private players? B, why was earnest money being returned back to private players? And the contention of the CBI that these private players were then routing back this money to the public officials who changed the policy. So there was a quid pro quo.
Could I say something now?
Look, Zaka, I think today all day long you've heard accusations. All day long you've heard accusations and press conferences both saying against each other. So there's no point for me to repeat, I think, what they have said. All the speakers before me have said it. So let me just say this, that, you know, what happened today, whether it holds in court or not, but what has happened is that it's a dent on this anti-corruption plank of the Kejriwal government or Aam Aadmi Party, because that's what brought them to politics in the first place. Yeah. Forget about winning elections and coming into government. I mean, the war of words that happened today, it's quite clear that, and in fact, it was said openly today. The Aam Aadmi Party has said that Kejriwal is a contender for 2024 against Modi, and that's why all this is happening. They are there in 1.5 states, and they want to now get into Gujarat and Himachal. Now, Gujarat is the BJP citadel, right? It's the home state of Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. So quite clearly, the Aam Aadmi Party, when it says that it wants to replace BJP in Gujarat, it made it clear that it is all gloves off. They are ready to battle, and that is why you are seeing that today they came out like in full force, whereas the BJP just left the defense to its spokespersons and to its Delhi unit. But it's an example of what is going to be coming in the days before the Gujarat and Himachal elections, which is a lot of verbal bombing, like you have seen in the press conferences and TV debates today. The Aam Aadmi Party is certainly fighting this more aggressively as compared to what the TMC did when the raids happened.
I want to know one thing. You know, yes, you're right. Aam Aadmi Party is ruling in 1.5 states. They've just won Punjab. Delhi is, of course, is half a state. It's not a full state. They went with a lot of pomp and a lot of expectations in Goa. I think they ended up getting 2 seats or 3. I'm not sure what the exact number was. They fought in Uttarakhand. They did not get a single seat. Where is this hype coming from, both in Gujarat as well as in Himachal Pradesh? Because, like you said, Gujarat has been the citadel of the BJP for the last 30 years. Even the Congress party has not been able to unseat them, let alone the Aam Aadmi Party. So where is this fear that AAP going national or AAP wanting to go national will somehow be a threat to the BJP? Where is that coming from?
Can I answer that, Zaka?
Smita.
Well, ICANN also soared, right? So they have a right to fight for it, and you have to give them credit that they are the only ones who have come out in the open and said that we are taking on the BJP. I think more so because when there was talk about Nitish Kumar becoming a opposition, or there was just talk, don't know whether it's going to happen, but this talk about a universal opposition candidate, here is Aam Aadmi Party saying, no, it's going to be us. We are the only ones who have. They may fail in their task, they may fail in it, but at least they are attempting. In 2014, they got egg on their face when they attempted that. There was this huge wave for Narendra Modi, but after 5 plus 5 years, it's going to be an uphill task for the BJP, but already snapping at its heels is the Aam Aadmi Party, despite all these raids which are happening. And as I said, that, when Modi said that there is, on 15th August, Zaka, just a couple of seconds ago, on 15th August, when he talked about the war against corruption and saying that it is a termite eating into the country, he didn't mean just in Kolkata. We are seeing that it's not just Partha and it's not just Anubrata, it's going to be more than that. It's Satyendra Jain, it's Anil Deshmukh, Nawab Malik, Sanjay Raut, and now even Sisodia.
Okay, let me ask
Dr.
Yashwardhan
Azad,
Azad. No,
sorry, I need to
one second,
interrupt
Dr.
here.
Shama Mohammed,
No,
I'm going
because
turn by
this
turn. I'll come back to you if you have an interruption. No, I'm not going to break turn. I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to break turn. I'm going to Yashwardhan Azad. I'm asking him a question. Yashwardhan Azad, the question is to him. Yashwardhan Azad, it is a question of an investigation. Now, I want to know, one of the contentions, and it's there in the CBI's FIR, is that the private players who benefited because of this new excise policy, one of the companies happened to be a blacklisted company. Now, this was one of the 5 major companies that got these private licenses when the excise policy changed. But how a government blacklisted company managed to get these licenses, that has not been explained in any of these government papers. So, is that also a matter of investigation as to not only favoring private players, but private players who had a checkered record, if you will?
There are a couple of points I want to make. And the first is there are too many extraneous factors which have been brought into the debate. And finally, you've asked me something which is very, very focused. Now, first, there was a conscious policy on the part of AAP to bring in private players, and I fully support that in 847 vends or whatever number there is, that there should be complete private players because government has no business to get into the problem of selling liquor. Number two, when the Chief Secretary did the preliminary inquiry, he came up with a lot of procedural lapses. One of them was that how it was given to the blacklisted people. Second was also that the matter was not written to the cabinet. Third was also the permission was not taken from the LG. Now, next point is that this 38 crores we are talking about, 148 crores we were talking about, it was a conscious government policy which is right there on paper. Now, I understand that the excise department and the transport department work like electoral bonds for the state governments. That's true. But the important point here is that because they have instituted cases under the Prevention of Corruption Act, a criminal conspiracy, and 477A, it has to be proved that there was transfer of money. And I suppose CBI, when it says that it has got some incriminating documents, then some of this is prima facie true, and that is why they are going ahead with this investigation. What I don't follow is why the AAP government is then not releasing a position paper or say a white paper or given a press conference, the reasons. Because the reasons given for, just saying that we're withdrawing the policy because they think that it is not profitable. It is your policy. If you've suffered a loss, it's fine. But there should be a clear enunciation.
No. So here's the problem. Yashwardhan Azad, on the one hand, they are saying that revenues that came from excise has gone up by 1,300 crores. So the revenues went up. But at the same time, it's also a fact that 30% of the new vends shut down within a year because it was not profitable. So either this policy was for increasing revenues, whereby that purpose was achieved, or it was for making liquor more freely available in Delhi, which was not the case because 30% of the shops shut. So either this policy is a failure or it's not. And by revoking it within 8 months, I guess it's tacit admission that the policy failed.
Zaka, you let me
there are
answer, please.
I'll come to you.
Policy can fail. Any policy can fail. But if the revenue has gone up by 27%, then the objective has been achieved. So what is left? What is left? That it has to be proved that the Prevention of Corruption Act, that somebody has benefited from the officials or the ministers. And that is what the CBI is looking into.
So let me ask.